everyone, it's Emily Francis with Oh My Malta, and we're here in a secret garden gem of Malta. We're with Friends of the Earth Malta, and we're starting with one of the founders, Martin. Thank you for allowing us into the garden.
Thanks for coming here actually as well.
So tell me, Friends of the Earth, how did you get started?
So Friends of the Earth started actually 40 years ago, so this year is actually our 40th anniversary.
40?
I've been around for around 25 of that. But it's changed a lot actually over the years. So it started off as a youth organization back in the 80s actually, and then became part of the Friends of the International Network in 1991 actually.
Was it always here in this
No,
area?
we moved here actually in 2018. The site was basically literally a dump site actually. So we actually carted out a lot of waste material from here. With the soil was not really soil, it was more like dust with a lot of well, probably polluting stuff.
So one person's trash is another one's
exactly.
treasure. So we're going to take a little walk and look around. So let's meet with the gardener, Michelangelo, and have him show us some of the plants that you have here. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks, yes.
Now we're here with Michelangelo, goes by Mick, and you're the primary gardener, are you?
Yes, I take care of the community garden over here. We meet around once a month. We invite the public for this, and it's very much participated, and people like to come. They come again and again.
So Romanesco I have in my hands, and they're letting me have this particular one. Is it gorgeous? Now, not only do you have a worm garden, you started that, right?
A worm farm.
A worm farm.
We feed it our kitchen scraps, and they turn it into compost, to vermicompost.
Beautiful. And then there's a lot that we grow here. So just give us an overview of some of the things you can find at Friends of the Earth growing.
So, since we're set in a historic place here, we had to improvise and create these 1 square meter gardens around us, which we've been growing lots of vegetables out of, such as artichokes, aubergines, tomatoes, sweet corn as well, which broad beans, there's peas as well, which we share with the community when we do these events.
And Brussels sprouts and
Brussels sprouts,
Romanesco.
goes on, and the cabbages.
So, and aubergine, you said, peppers. There's so much here, aloe vera.
Aloe vera.
And now let's go visit your favorite part, and mine, the bees.
The bees, yes, let's go. We are smoking the bees to calm them. They think it's a fire going on, so they go to their honey reserves and engorge themselves with honey, which calms them down. I'd like to open the one in the end.
Of course. Okay.
The one at the end here, because this seems to be the strongest one.
Okay.
And I've been very curious to check out their progress. This is the honey super. It's where they store their honey, their excess honey. They're still to fill this up, but let's check out the brood box. So, this here is a queen excluder, so that the queen does not travel up to the honey super and deposit eggs where we want the honey to be.
Do the bees ever rest?
Yes, at night the activity calms down, of course. Here they are filling this with honey, yes. This side.
It's really magnificent.
I'll pull up a full frame. The population seems very strong.
How often do you get honey from there? Like how?
We don't really take much honey, because since they already have a lot going against them in this area, especially with the hornets and with overdevelopment and the lack of pollen in the area. We help them by not taking so much, or none at all sometimes.
Oh, wow. Is this a multiflora honey or?
Right now it would be more of thyme
Okay.
and eucalyptus, but at the moment, even though we're not into spring yet, there's a lot of flowers around. You can see them. The queen is just over there, in the middle of the frame, the largest one.
Wow.
Can you see her? Now it's closer to this side.
Oh, I see her.
This is good. These are Maltese bees, the Apis mellifera veterinaria.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Now we have Annalise with us, and she's one of the wildlife educators, and she's going to take us up to some of the wild plants, wild garden. I was going to use the word forage, but that's not really accurate.
It can be both.
Let's go play.
So here was basically a dump site with a lot of dumped material from all the works going on in the harbor. So this is an area we're trying to reclaim bit by bit. So we had to also add soil because the soil was very poor here, the little soil that there was. So we added more material to give it a bit more health to the soil. And you will see two different types of plants. One is the type of plants which we are planting and which we tend for. So until they settle, we are watering them. The others are the spontaneous plants. So this is much wilder than what you saw because plants are allowed to flower and there is minimal intervention. There will be times where we will remove some of the plants after they have flowered. But at the moment, as you can see, it's already a bit like spring. So you have different flowers and bloom at the moment. For instance, one of them is this, what we call the white mignonette. It's a very pretty flower. You can see it just here.
Oh.
And it has these very tiny flowers on its head.
Do the bees use that?
Yes.
Okay.
Bees are attracted to it. I have a bee coming there. And it's also a plant which can be foraged. It's not so known in Malta, but it actually can be foraged. And another plant which is often used instead of spinach is this Maltese, we call it cell. Cell. And it's a sea beet, so it's like from the beetroot family. And the leaves are quite similar to spinach, so we actually also included it in our foraging book, and we include some recipes to get some idea of what you can do with these plants. There's white mustard.
White mustard.
Mm-hmm. So
is that edible?
yes,
like mustard?
There are different types. I'll show you the one which is the one we use mostly, which is a yellowish one further on.
Ooh, what's these? Oh, it's the flowers, but
Yes, so these are the crown daisy. It's still opening. These are two different plants.
okay.
So here the main one, the crown daisy, is very fast to populate the area. It's one of the main plants that goes in as soon as you have disturbed land. It attracts quite a lot of wildlife. Also, occasionally you may find spiders, very well hidden, very well camouflaged, yellow spiders. Here we have a Barbary bug, who's also, so we often think of bees as pollinators, but this is another pollinator here.
Ah, so
And
this is our friend.
Maltese, he has
furry.
a funny name. We call him Busufu because he is fairy. So suf in Maltese is wool or hair.
Suf. Yeah, it's
So
hairy.
we call him the hairy one. And those hairs are really, really good to collect pollen on them. So then they can transfer to other plants.
Wow. I do have a question, but it's down further. But this one to me looks like one of the magic, that big bush.
At the far end.
Yeah, the green, the solid green before the next end of the flowers. What is
Just
that?
next to the wall or this one?
No, not this one, the next. Do you want me to go point to it?
Yes,
Okay.
let's go and have a look.
This is for my own curiosity. I just want to know what it is.
So just as we go along the way, this is one of the plants which is unique to Malta. So we call it Maltese spurge, Tenauta Malta, and it's only found in Malta. At the moment, if you really get close, you'll see little dewdrops, which for most of the year are the only water these plants get.
Oh, wow.
This is a plant which is unique to Malta, so you will only find it in Malta and Gozo, nowhere else in the world. It
Not
will
even
flower.
Comino?
Yes, Comino.
Okay.
In our islands, I mean. So it will flower soon, around February normally, has a very particular smell. And
So they flower?
Yes, they flower.
Okay.
They flower very soon. They will have a very strong scent around them, and which will attract bees. And what's curious about this plant is that it drops the leaves just before summer. So mostly in Malta we have evergreen plants, but this is one of the plants which drops the leaves because it just gets too hot. But then it revives in autumn again. It's a plant which is a bit poisonous, as all the plants in this family, which are called the euphorbias, and it can cause some irritation, which is its way of defending itself from being eaten, basically. So here we have a very rare plant. No. Again, if you look really close, there are some microscopic drops on the leaves, and that remains a bit longer there because it has hairy leaves. So actually the leaf is green, but it's covered in these grayish silver hairs. If you look at it through a microscope, it's actually like fur covering the leaf. And this is very important for plants that live in very dry areas. So it manages in those hairs, a bit like when we sweat and we collect sweat and then it cools us. It has the same effect, and also it loses less water. And the whitish color helps it reflect sunlight. So it's a good way to keep the heat away. And this is a plant only found in Malta as well, but mostly in Gozo. Practically in Gozo only, because in Malta it's extremely rare. It's called the Maltese everlasting. In Maltese sempreviva taudes, and it only grows on the west coast of Gozo. So it's one of the rarest endemics that we have.
So many ants. Is that detrimental to the garden? Helpful to the garden?
I think it depends on what you want with the garden. So this is a wildlife garden, so where nature takes priority. So the more diversity there is, the better, because eventually it will come to a balance. If you're growing things, maybe it would be a different way to look at it. But here, like, nature is welcome in any form.
I love it.
And it will also, the ants will be providing food for other creatures that will prey on them.
Okay.
So it's a bee on the sotisil right now.
A happy bee.
Yes, this is a very common plant.
That's dandelion, right?
A type, sort of.
Golden.
It's a sotisil, but it's often called the dandelion because it does the same seed type with the like a sun, sort of sunny, which flies with the wind. So it's a local.
So show me this
honeybee.
This happy guy. I just want to know. These are nice. These look like the other ones, but they don't have the fur.
This is like the Maltese spurge, but this is a tree spurge, so it's bigger. The leaves are much bigger.
And they don't have the dew.
No, and because they're higher up and they have dried much quicker. And this grows much larger, and it's home to a specific caterpillar, which is an endemic butterfly to Malta.
I love that. Okay, this is the one I was talking about. This.
Ah, rosemary, okay.
This is rosemary?
Yes.
I have rosemary in my yard and I didn't recognize it.
So
from far away, it just looked like a magical, enchanted
it's
being.
much darker than the others. So we often say green, but green has so many different shades. That is also green, but it's silvery green. The rosemary is a very good pollinator plant. Right now
there are already bees on there.
Quite some bees as well. And it's also a plant which is very useful because of all the uses from rosemary.
Oh, I thought that was one of the furry bugs. But I do see the big snail, which tells you it's organic. It's your garden. You know what's going on. Okay, so let's jump back down. Let's go meet with Damian and just wrap this up. And now we're meeting with Damian. Thank you. So let's talk briefly the NGO. What is the meaning behind Friends of the Earth?
Okay, so Friends of the Earth is an environmental organization. We have 3 main campaigns that we work on. My campaign is food, agriculture and biodiversity. We have another campaign which tackles the challenges we have with climate change and mobility. And also we have another campaign which focuses on circular economy, waste management, and these are the main areas of campaigns that we work with. We also have an area where we engage in community education, and as you can see, this space is a community-based education space. People come here for learning how to do urban gardening. You know, Malta, we had in the last few years a big development in the demographic, and so it's becoming more and more urbanized. So we want to promote and create pollinator-friendly gardens like this in urban areas, where we can create ecosystems where our bees and other pollinators can also find place where to collect pollen and have space where they can do their work, also within urban areas. At the same time, we bring people here to learn how to grow food. As you can see, we have a lot of fruit growing, we have a wild garden there, and so we use this space as part of the community where people come together. Obviously, when we speak about nature, we also speak about humans, because we're an integral part of nature. We're not two separate things. So when we organize our community gardens here on a monthly basis, as Mick was saying, people come here from different cultures, different age groups. They come together. We do some hands-on gardening, practical work. People ask questions. How can I create a roof garden? How can I grow vegetables in my small pot? But at the same time, it's a space where people can socialize. We ask people to bring food, and we also cook food from whatever the garden provides to us. And so apart from advocating for nature and the environment, we also create a space where people can come to meet other people, socialize, taste food. So this is what we try to do through Friends of the Earth.
I love it. And let's take it to the big part. We want to make sure we do not forget the Farmer's Map. You are the creators of the Farmer's Map, and we will post the QR code.
Yeah, so practically, obviously we also promote sustainable food systems, and the local farmers are the key element of the food that we produce on this island. So we try to support the farmers by creating this farm map. It's an online platform where people can find the closest farmer to their house. Obviously, it's not only about being close to farmers, but ideally to have a farmer from your own community. It means that your food from farm to fork would have traveled in less time, and it's healthier because it comes from the farm to your table in a few hours. The farm map is also about creating a relationship between the individual and the individual who's consuming the food and the person who is growing your food. You know more what type of practices the farmer used. You can speak directly to the farmer on how he grows his food. So we try to create this relationship directly between the farmer and the person who buys the food. It is very important because most of the resources, energy and labor that is put into growing our food is provided by the farmer. One of the nicest things about knowing how to grow food is to understand how long it takes for a farmer to grow the food. So we have broad beans here, for example, and we just harvested potatoes. That's why it's empty here. And it takes more than 90 to 120 days of nurturing, of care, of putting human resources, which means labor, of natural resources, which means water, and then it ends up on our table. So it's very important also to understand what a lot of work goes before it goes on the market. And most of the income from the food does not go to the farmer. So the farm map is a bit of social justice for the farmers to be able to go directly and get the customers so they can sell directly to the people. So I suggest that people access our Malta Farm App. You can find it on our website or maltafarmapp.org. And in that case, you can find the closest farmer. You have all the contacts. Contact them. Some of them have shops, some of them are hawkers, but some of them also would welcome you to their farm, and you can buy directly from the farm.
So visit them at Friends of the Earth Malta
.org.
.org. Thanks for being here. Thanks, everyone.